Hello and welcome to The Plate. I am Tim Wagner and I'm here with my co-host Jacob Musrum. Today we're going to be talking about a various amount of subjects, so let's delve right into the first one with movies and TV. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe is just outstanding. It's just the MCU and what they were able to accomplish over 10 years and just tell the story that they did with the Infinity Saga. I don't know if anything like that will happen again.
That grand of a scale, I can't think so.
Yeah.
With that many movies and that many blockbuster hits, I just don't think another
No.
film production company could do that.
No, and just the amount of hype that was behind it, because I saw an Infinity War midnight release, and I just remember being blown away at the end of that movie, and just, oh my God, I just remember just being left like, oh, that's how they ended it? Like, they ended it that way. They ended it, spoilers, they ended it with Thanos just snapping his fingers and everyone just faded away to dust, and that's how you end the movie? Like, the whole time I was just wondering, when is that gonna happen? And then when it did happen, I was like, no.
I can't believe they actually did it.
Yeah.
Like, they actually killed off half the superheroes in their...
Yeah, the people they killed off, I was like, that's kind of ballsy. Like, when I saw they killed off Black Panther, I did not see that coming.
Nope, not one bit.
No,
I thought they were going to make a second movie. They were going to carry a story on forever, and then...
Yeah, well, the thing is that they confirmed Black Panther 2 before an Endgame came out and Infinity War. So when I saw that, I was like, how are they going to do that? Like, how are they going to, either he's coming back or they're going to have Shuri come in and take up the mantle, and that'd be really cool because she does that, and she does that in the comics. So I actually would really like to see that.
Aren't you think they're going to have to now with Chadwick Boseman being gone?
Yeah, sadly, yeah. I do think so.
That they're going to have to go in that direction, just...
Yeah, but I do think that I do trust the people in charge that they're going to do a very good job. Yeah. However, moving on to another comic book story, the Killing Joke and animated movie we saw recently. I watched the whole thing. You've seen bits and pieces.
I saw the first half, yes.
And it was just, we're going to be talking about the ending here too, so a quick little spoiler warning there. However, it was just amazing. And coming from a non-comic book person, what were just some moments throughout that ending in the first half that you've seen that really kind of hit you as like, oh, like, this doesn't feel like a comic book story. It feels like a noir kind of story or detective story or...
Yeah, it was the first time I ever watched a R-rated comic book movie. And it's just, it really feels like it was a detective film. Like, they like, Gotham was like just one of those old detective movies, and Batman and his partner were just going through the streets, like, just trying to
stop crime.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it was amazing with like the swears and like the actual violence. Like, it actually feels like he's actually stopping crime and like fighting against the bad guy, and not just...
Yeah, because I do think that is another thing that's come to the forefront with the comic book movies being as popular as they are now, and kind of being in the space where they are, of where it's kind of, are they going to be ever as good as they are, with Marvel really capping it with the Infinity Saga, and DC coming out with some pretty good movies that it's kind of like, they came out with Aquaman, which was really good, but it's like, I don't know if comic book movies will ever be, other than like the big ones like Spider-Man that always come out, I don't know if those will be looked at as anticipated as before, but at the same time, I'd love to be proven wrong.
Absolutely, and I think they will. I don't think they'll stop. With the way they've been going, I don't see any signs. With them adding like the Spider-Verse and Doctor Strange, like, I'm really excited for where they're going, because now they have like the big name and like the big movies that everyone loves. So now they can actually like dive into the things that like might be a little bit riskier, because they know fans will still enjoy the things even if it doesn't work out exactly how they want it.
Yeah.
Because they had the Infinity Saga, which...
killed it. And
just utterly blew it away. So.
Yeah. But speaking on that, kind of a risky movie that was done, but it would be hilarious to call it a risk now. It was actually the Spider-Verse movie with Miles Morales that Sony did, because that's one of the last movies that Sony did with the Spider-Man label. Other than Venom, that was like really big and it was kind of risky, but it's, oh my God, that movie, I don't know, I forget if you see it or not, but...
Is that the animated one?
That's the animated one with
Is it the one where
Miles
they
Morales?
Switch it from 30 frames a second to 60 frames a second halfway through the movie?
Yeah,
to like show that he's learning how to become Spider-Man?
Yeah, and
that's amazing. I still can't believe they did that. Like,
yeah.
that's just impressive. Like,
the level of production that goes into that too, where it's just they took the time to actually have different frame rates, render it out. Like that is just care for just telling the story in a way that that you only notice when it's pointed out if you're not trained to see it.
oh,
or something
absolutely.
where,
I read a tweet about it before I watched the film, and like you could actually pick up on it once you like learn that it did that. Like you could tell like throughout the movie that the frame switched and like it was smoother, and it was amazing. I loved it.
Oh yeah, and just like especially like that whole scene, the build up to where it's like the "What's Up Danger" song, and then I forget the name of it, but then it just the whole jumping off of that skyscraper and the moment of becoming Spider-Man. It really just resonated with me as being the comic book fan that I am, and being just the huge Spider-Man fan that I am. It was just kind of like I kind of felt like a kid becoming Spider-Man, or you
Yeah.
kind of like, there was very much like that kind of feeling. And it was just like a moment of, it's similar to watching The Mandalorian, where in the first episode, where the first season, you see all the Mandalorians flying in on their jetpacks, having a massive fight scene, and you're just like, as a fan, you're like, I never thought I would see something like this on the big screen or get as much recognition at.
Yeah, like even
or
the
done
original
this well.
trilogy with just seeing Boba Fett, like just imagine like
Yeah,
back
like-
then how far it's gone. Like they just
Yeah.
saw this one bounty hunter that wore
Yeah.
this armor,
Yeah,
and
then-
now it's this great like warrior tribe that's been around for thousands upon thousands of years. And like with the Mandalorian, and he's in like the secret cult, like it's crazy how far they have gone with just how deep they can actually dive into the Star Wars world.
Yeah, especially with Maul too. Like what they've done with Maul, and I love that with the all of George Lucas's sequel ideas coming out, he did plan on bringing Maul back from being cut in half from Episode 1 from the start. Like he did plan on, he did have bigger plans from Maul, bigger plans for Maul from the start, and he was going to become the new emperor, and we kind of got to see a little bit of that in Rebels. But would you have wanted to see that way more fleshed out in the sequel trilogy, or would you rather have seen kind of what they did, but more of to what we've discussed, where it's like the emperor had more of a role in bringing Kylo Ren, and Luke didn't die at the end of The Last Jedi and trained Rey? Would you rather have seen how Rey, Kylo, and the story of where it continued the actual storyline that fans thought they were going to get, where you get to see Luke come back, train Rey, like you get to see him and Leia actually reunite, and get to have him and Han reunite, and just have that big moment and then actually train Rey to be the next generation of Jedi. And after he did have a failed temple, like would you have wanted to see that play out, or would you rather have seen what George Lucas planned, where it was having someone similar to Darth Talon, where it's kind of someone from the Twi'lek race, and they're a Sith, and they're kind of the new enforcer role of Vader, and Maul is in the back being an emperor, and he's kind of going against Luke and Leia in the New Republic. Would you rather have seen that, or would you rather have seen Kylo and Rey and how they would have interacted with Luke and everyone play out?
I would definitely have loved to see the Darth Maul one. Just like after we saw everything in Rebels, it would have been cool if we still saw not as much as we saw in Rebels, and but yeah, it would just been amazing if he actually rose to Emperor from having nothing, being cut in half and thrown into a pit the first time we ever saw him on screen, to be coming back and taking his master's throne from him. Like that would just be amazing. And with all like the background information and like the story we got from all the side projects Star Wars has done, Darth Maul is definitely like the most interesting and detailed character the Star Wars universe has.
Oh yeah.
And his story is just so many twists and turns of just pain.
Yeah. The fact that he stayed alive due to it just because of his hatred for Obi-Wan.
Just pure hatred.
Yeah, and then he comes back and his one goal is to make Obi-Wan's life hell. And then he goes and finds Obi-Wan on Tatooine and ends up dying to him because he goes to attack him the same way that Qui-Gon died. It's just beautiful. It's poetic the way he died, because Obi-Wan takes the stance that his master Qui-Gon did when he died in Episode 1. And then Darth Maul goes to do the same kill shot, and Obi-Wan knows it's coming and just cuts him right down the middle and killed. And I'm just torn because I'm so happy with the way that Darth Maul actually went out. In a weird way, the way his death went out is just so true to his character
Yeah, it
that
was,
I really wouldn't replace it with anything other than that. Or if maybe Luke was replaced with Obi-Wan, just because of the lineage of Obi-Wan trained Luke. But like that's where I'm just so torn. Like I want to see Maul do that, but I'm just how his complete story arc was told. I'm so satisfied with how
yeah,
they told it.
it's crazy how his whole life was just pain and anger, and then once he finally died, just all of it was gone, and all he wanted was for like the world to go on and for the Emperor to be ended.
Yeah, and how he just truly actually wanted things to be better instead of just wanting power and power and power. Like he was trying to gain power to establish a kingdom, and given he was absolutely brutal and not really defending him here, but he is in some way a tragic character in
His own
in his
painful, angry way.
Yeah. Yeah, but however, do you think his super weapon would have just been a giant double-bladed lightsaber, and he just takes out planets by just activating it, just starts spinning, he just flies into
He
the
just
planet?
flies into it. Do you think he would get two once he's the Emperor?
Oh my God! No, but if he did, the Emperor has a whole fleet of them and just sends them out.
They're just propeller planes with lightsabers on the front.
All right, let's move on to our next subject of music. So recently we saw a tweet that really caught my attention because I don't know if you can actually pick or really answer this tweet. Someone asked, "What are your 3 perfect albums?" And I don't know if I can really answer what my 3 perfect albums are. I can really only give one album that would be on that list consistently, and it would be Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, just because. And I know it's a very stereotypical answer, but it's stereotypical for a reason. It's because it's just really good. Like it's a 45-minute album that I don't feel like there's any unused space on it. And it's just like I feel like in how you like the way that everything flows together and the different renditions of it, it's just beautiful. Like the way that and I just feel like Dark Side of the Moon, it gets as much, it gets the recognition that it should, and I just can't speak highly enough of the album because there's Time, which I think is just one of the greatest songs of all time, where like that guitar solo by Roger Waters has one of my favorite guitar chords in it, and I don't know the guitar, so I can't say what the chords are, but I know it's when he shifts from when he holds out in the solo on one chord.
David Gilmour.
Wow.
He played the guitar.
I feel really stupid now because I feel so stupid because I've actually.
You know.
Waters was the bass player.
Yeah, Roger Waters and David Gilmour hated each other because David Gilmour kept on saying like you sing flat, and Roger Waters was no. I'm like it was I feel really dumb now. But moving on, trucking along, the David Gilmour where he holds out that chord and goes to the next one. Every time I listen to it, I just always, I can't just, it's just so beautiful and nice. I'm not so technical with music, so I can't really speak on each note. I can only really say how the album just
flows together,
and I don't feel there's any unused space on it, and that it's just,
every song's worth listening to.
Yeah, and it's definitely an album that everyone should listen to at some point in their life. Because the other thing is, if I didn't have Dark Side of the Moon on there, I'd have The Wall. So Pink Floyd, there's one Pink Floyd album on there at some point.
At some point, there has to be.
Yeah, and then, but it's just the other 2 perfect albums, like I can't really think of any because it's, like I would say 3001 A Laced Odyssey by Flatbush Zombies, but that's way more of a personal choice. So, because I don't think there'll ever be a consensus, but
that's what I did. All morning I tried looking for these, just like scrolling through just Spotify looking for albums that I'm just like, what's a complete album? I just went from like the best album I could find from a genre. And for rap, I did 2014 Forest Hill Drive by J. Cole. Because when you think of a rap album, that's the first one that comes to mind. Like that was one of the most popular albums and still is one of the most popular albums. I hear people playing music from that album to this day. And
I still do.
6 years. Like, I just love it. And that's what, like, J. Cole was big before that, but like after he released this, they were like, he's on the top of like the rap game, and like it's beautiful. It's just
and it's kind of wild because the other album that I was gonna throw on was Revenge of the Dreamers 3.
Oh, yep,
because
absolutely.
that's another J. Cohen where he just
Unbelievable.
collaborated with. He just opened up a studio for, well, I think what was it, like 3 months or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 3 months. He let his whole record label come in and just record songs, and it's
Yeah.
just it's awesome to see how his whole record label came together to make like this really solid,
Oh yeah,
well
and-
put together album.
Yeah, and I love seeing the artists actually get in the studio together instead of just seeing them sending the actual, instead of sending verses to each other back and forth. Because getting in the studio together, there's something about it where you get a chemistry going. And even though like I've never been in the studio to record, like I've seen it in dialogue, like everyone sees it,
Yeah.
that you can hear it on the song. Like there's a certain chemistry when they're in the studio together, and if they just go hand in hand, and it's kind of like, it's like cheese and wine. It's just timeless. There's always going to be some kind of pair, trio, band, or some kind of duo that when they collaborate, that is just unbelievable and just blows everyone's minds, and that they just always are asking for more.
And it'll always be better doing one thing together than 4 separate things, trying to make it one.
Oh yeah.
So.
Speaking of which, do you have any, I guess, albums or songs that are your favorite collaborations between artists? Just off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, not that I can think of.
Because right now I'm thinking of Escape from New York by Beast Coast. Just that entire record label of Flatbush Zombies, Joey Badass, The Underachievers, just Kirk Knight, everyone on that. It's one that I feel like is very similar to Revenge of the Dreamers 3, as in it got as much care put into it. And I do feel like it got as much recognition in a weird way because it was put out entirely independently. But kind of the J. Cole one kind of was too, because it was through his record label.
Yeah, there's Dave East has one, and it's 5 songs, and they're amazing. He has like 4 artists on each, and like he got them all to record them together. And they're some of my favorite like independent music I've heard in like a long time.
Well, you can always there to back independent music. All right, well, moving on to the next subject, science and engineering. So I was reading the SpaceX rocket launch, and I was reading through that article, and something that really crossed my mind was what the uneasiness kind of is like from launch to land on the ISS, because your rocket could blow up. Like, it's just
a million things could go wrong.
Yeah, the trajectory could be wrong, and you miss the ISS, and you're just going off into space and you're just gone
forever.
Yeah, like it's just like that uneasiness. Like I feel like the sigh of relief of when you finally step foot onto the ISS, the International Space Station, is just the greatest sigh of relief and just anxiety off of you that anyone could ever feel in their life. Not saying I ever want to feel it, but oh my God, just think of the amount of stress that someone would be under during that.
But with like SpaceX, with NASA, they would just come down and crash into the ocean. But imagine now trying to land a rocket, like you coming down from Earth, like the space, landing on Earth in a rocket ship. Like that must be more terrifying than taking off into space. Because like, what if it tips over? Just a million more things could go wrong. So like you make it up to the ISS, and then you're like, oh great, now we get to go down. Like,
what if they give every single one of the suits that the guy used to jump off the atmosphere? So if anything goes wrong,
they just bail.
Jump out of the ship. Abandoned ship. Just start coming down.
Nah.
That would be wild. That would be wild. That'd be insane.
Breaking news: 3 astronauts are plummeting to the Earth because their spaceship crashed on re-entry.
Their spaceship blew up and they all just jumped out, and now they're just free falling. They're just waiting to deploy the parachutes. These are heroes, we're saying.
One is drifting. One is drifting.
I repeat, one is drifting. Oh, that's the ocean. They need to come back. Oh my God. That would just be, yeah, there's just so many things. Thank God that we have the right people doing that. Oh my God.
Yeah. But just imagine like seeing the rocket finally like re-enter the atmosphere, and like you see it coming down to the platform,
Mhm.
it touches the ground and then just falls apart.
Oh
Like
my-
just so many things could go wrong. Like
Yeah,
one of the
this is-
engines could give out like as you're touching down, and the
Mhm.
whole thing just blows over. Like
Yeah, it's oh my god, like it's just horrifying. And if anyone who knows more than us about about physics and just space travel wants to correct us on any of this, that'd be amazing. Because, well, we're just kind of we are speculating here. If it wasn't if it wasn't obvious. But yeah, there was also a dueling dinosaur fossil donated to the North Carolina Museum, and apparently it looks like it's to the death.
really,
But can you just imagine that? Like it's kind of like the Pompeii, where the guy was caught in a lewd act, just like
one final go.
yeah, one final go at it, but he's just corrupted. He's just encased in volcanic ash now. And they just opened the door and just found an ash statue. One guy going for one last one, as you saw just all the ash coming in.
Pile it on. But do you think like
Good to know the human
media
race hasn't changed.
hasn't changed one bit? But just imagine like the dinosaurs, like they see the comet coming, it's starting to like burn up. They
And
get
then-
all mad and stuff, and then just fighting to the death. And
Imagine
then
if they
they
had beef and they just saw the world was ending.
just,
It's like,
there's
yo,
like
fuck you.
one final ride.
And then, hey, we're talking about this the whole time. Let's go finish it out. And they just go at each other. And then they just get forever encased in just a duel to the
Permanent
death.
headlock.
And there's like, I'm gonna get you. Now I'm gonna get you. And then just bam, surprise, you're getting neither.
Surprise, no one wins.
Oh my god. But yeah, so you researched these things called
I
the
did. I found
Georgia
these a
Guidestones.
couple weeks ago. They're called the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah,
They
it's
were
just wild.
installed in Albert County, Georgia in 1979.
Mm-hmm.
No one actually knows
Mhm.
who paid and wanted these put up.
Mm-hmm.
But the man that did paid for it all in cash, bought the land, donated it to the town county to protect it so no one would
Mhm.
touch these statues.
Yeah.
And they're 3 granite slabs with the top slab on top, inscribed with 12 different languages. And there's 10 steps to restart society after an apocalypse.
It's just wild because it arises like just obviously it raises so many questions about how they know this, how blah blah blah, but it also raises so many questions about how they get to these conclusions. Like how did they get from like the thought process of the world's gonna end? Here's how to get here's what you need to do to bring it back potentially because the world hasn't ended yet. So this is all a hypothesis right now.
But the crazy thing is, the 10 rules still fit to today's like society, and
Yeah.
it's been almost nearly half a century.
Yeah.
like the second to last one is avoid petty laws and useless officials. How many petty laws and useless officials does just the United States have?
There's so many of them. And then the other one about being a cancer not on the earth and leave room for nature, leave room for nature. Like it's very preachy, but at the same time, like climate change is a very real thing.
And
there's
more and more we use up more trees and forests for
Mm.
fuel and
yeah.
products every day. So
Mhm.
soon we're gonna run out.
Oh yeah. And the thing that worries me is what if it's the Unabomber just did it under an anonymous name? Like before he went out and did all that wild shit. Actually, I should probably look up the dates before I actually say that. So,
It would be impressive if he also did this.
yeah. Yeah, but what I mean is like you just put him there to like fuck with people.
Yeah,
Like,
just
he because we don't know if any of this is true or not right now. But all we're basing it off of is it looks true. Like
Mhm.
it looks like this based on what's happening on our Earth to right now. It looks like these are the ways to go about bringing in.
back a society after the apocalypse.
Yeah.
From the issues in today's society, then.
Yeah, and it's just. But again, it's just where did it come from? Like, who's that guy? Like, who's that?
It's crazy. The only person that actually knows the actual person's name that paid for it is the owner of the stone company that paid for all the stone. He had to actually tell the man his actual name because they had to figure out if he could actually pay
Yeah.
for this massive monument.
Yeah.
And the stone owner had to sign a non-disclosure agreement to like his death. to never reveal the man's name.
See, like that's some shit that's really cool, but I just hope I never get mixed up in.
No.
Like,
And just imagine being you own a stone quarry, and a man comes saying he's from an elite society, elite secret society of people that want to inscribe how to restart society after an apocalypse. Like, what would you say? Like,
yeah, that definitely wasn't the first one he went to.
One of the biggest order the company has ever seen, and it's for a stone monument. Keep in mind, it has the 10 things inscribed, but it's also a calendar, a compass. It's a calendar, compass, and I forget the third one. It's right here.
Yeah, but the fact that it's just the fact that it's a multifaceted monument, and the fact they came to just a random stone quarry, but it definitely was not like that. Definitely wasn't the only stone quarry.
Oh,
that
absolutely
went to.
not. There's no way. There's no way the first person was like, yeah, we'll build that.
Yeah, no,
in the middle of nowhere on this weird 5 acres of land that these people just bought, as they were talking about making this monument.
Yeah, no way that it was like just 100% people were saying no. But nonetheless, let's move on to sports. This is going to be a very fun discussion because the Celtics right now we're going in. NBA free agency just opened today. A half
at
hour.
6 actually.
Yeah, at 6. So right now we are in the dark about what actually what has happened. But so far, the Celtics are in kind of a predicament with Gordon Hayward.
They're in a very strange place.
Yeah.
Because what they said they needed in the draft, they didn't go out and drafted. They said they needed big man, but they drafted a point guard, a small forward, and someone that's still playing in Europe. So we were all very confused because we thought we were going to go out and draft a big man or move up in the draft to get someone.
Yeah.
Because we drafted 4 rookies last year, and we didn't need another 4 rookies because the average age of the Boston Celtics is already 23 years old, which is the lowest in the NBA.
Yeah, we are a young team, young core.
And it doesn't help that we also didn't pick up the team options on our 3 oldest players, Enes Kanter, Brad Wanamaker, and Gordon Hayward declined his player option.
Yeah, but okay, I want to talk about Enes Kanter though, because Enes Kanter, it seemed like the departure with Boston kind of seemed like it was a mutual one because we didn't use him a ton in the playoffs just due to the matchups, due to the matchups that we got.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I think it was very much like we appreciate you a lot and you are an amazing player and bring a lot to the team. But for you, right now, for you to be the best, I feel like it was you should go somewhere else because we can have someone similar to you to fit the role that you would take on the
Absolutely.
team. While you can go and play a bigger role on a team that more suits your needs. And I feel like that it was because he left a message saying that he loved Boston and he's.
It was very mutual. On draft night, we traded our 30th pick to the Grizzlies. And in that, it was a 3-team trade. So we sent Enes Kanter to the Portland Trailblazers, where that's actually the team where he's been the best out of his whole career. So it's really good to see. And we also gave him the choice of going to the Grizzlies or Portland, because we didn't have a preference and we wanted him to be the happiest. So he gets to return back to one of the first teams in the NBA he's ever played for, where he's spent the longest time in the USA because he came here from Turkey in college to play at Kentucky.
Yeah.
So
his story is insane.
Yeah, it's insane how he had to just jump on a plane without a passport or nothing just to escape the Turkish government because they tried to keep him there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. But it also probably helps that him going to Portland right into another playoff team.
Absolutely.
They have Damian Lillard. They have Melo, who's coming storming back into being a very key role veteran.
Absolutely. He put in huge numbers. He was one of the most clutch players on the Portland Trailblazers this year. Him and Damian Lillard were the 2 people taking the last shot because Melo's still Melo. No one just gave him a shot for the past 3 years. And now he's finally showing people hey, there's a reason why I should have won Rookie of the Year over LeBron James. Did you know that? He's the only rookie to win Rookie of the Month every single month of the season and not win Rookie of the Year?
I did not know that.
Yep.
Oh my
LeBron
God.
won it over him, but Melo outperformed him every single month, and he had better averages at the end of the season. But since LeBron was such a big name, they gave him the Rookie of the Year.
That's insane. That's insane. But at the same time, like, I kind of get the LeBron thing.
Absolutely.
But in the moment, like, Melo was better for the team. Like, wow, that's insane. But, oh my God, yeah, the fact that, but also, we got to talk about we have to talk about the result we came to after the 2-year-long conversation about the LeBron James versus Michael Jordan, and how we've pretty much it seems like we've come to a consensus that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player, or is the better basketball player, but LeBron James will always make the right basketball play. Because as we saw with the Lakers and Danny Green in the finals, he will take that double team and pass it out to Danny Green. Like, that is the correct basketball play, as you pointed out, that you're throwing it out to the person you literally signed to shoot three-pointers.
Yeah. People get so mad that he missed, but Danny Green shot the third best three-point percentage out of everybody in the playoffs. He was the third best three-point shooter. So who do you want shooting that shot? The third best three-point shooter in the whole league at the moment. That was the right play, and people just miss.
Yeah.
But back onto the MJ and LeBron thing, I look at it as MJ will have the greatest legacy out of any NBA player. No one will come close to how much publicity and legacy, and he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
But LeBron James is just the most gifted athlete in the NBA that anyone's ever seen. To be 6'9", 250, and to be able to touch the top of a backboard.
Yeah.
No human should be able to do that. And he's been doing that since he's 18 years old in high school.
Yeah.
How do you get drafted out of high school and become an all-star right away on a team they got the first pick? They were the worst team in the league. And he won Rookie of the Year. He dragged the awful Cavaliers. The second year, he won 61 games with a terrible team. No one else would have done that. It took MJ 7 years to win a championship.
But the way I view it, though, is that MJ is the player that's, give me the ball, I will hit that, I will get those last points that we need.
100%.
He will go and he will get those points. Like, MJ is, and that's what I mean by he's the better player. MJ will always hit that clutch shot.
Yep.
And I mean, like, people always miss, but at the same time, like, it's just his consistency of being able to show up in every big moment, just throughout. It's insane. It's in the way that, because the thing is, to this day, he still wish he went and got that 7th. To this day, he wishes because he came back with the Wizards, but like. He still kind of wished that Phil Jackson had one. He kind of wishes that they had one more year to go and get it. LeBron said he's satisfied with what his career is. So I think
he did say if he retired now, he would be happy.
Yeah,
MJ is still not satisfied, and he owns a team.
Yeah, so it is literally like that mentality difference. It's not to say that LeBron doesn't have a killer instinct, because he 1000% does.
But he won't ever come to the legacy and just clutch and just reliability that MJ has.
Yeah, MJ's just ambition and drive to be, I am the best. No one's going to tell me I'm not, I think is what would drive him and to staying as the greatest.
And it also seemed like he pushed his teammates more. MJ got in your face and yelled at you and hit you if you weren't doing something right. And LeBron doesn't seem that way. LeBron throws more shade and puts more blame on people. He stopped doing it now. He's been more of like a real leader when he came to the Lakers. But like the early days, he would put the blame on other people. He just would never fully own it up to himself.
Yeah, and then and I think another great point of that is MJ had to learn how to trust his teammates. Like he had to be encouraged by Phil Jackson to go out and like, hey, pass the ball. But the thing is, they were still winning. That's similar, and that's so similar to LeBron as well. But it's like, I don't know. It's like it's kind of like the phrase "winning solves everything." Yeah. So it's just like MJ was kind of always on that winning Bulls team when he was there. So they didn't really they had issues. Like when Rodman literally went to a vacation in Vegas and MJ was running around a casino trying to find him. Like moments like that on a team, but it shows the kind of person that MJ is. Like he was out there trying to get
everyone on the same page.
Yeah. But the thing is, he also understood that Rodman was that kind of player. Like he had to go out and let loose in Vegas because that was just how Rodman was operating
Yeah,
just
it's
for
just
years.
how he lives his life. That's how he still lives his
Yeah.
life today.
Yeah, he's still exactly.
Did you see that video of him opening the shoebox?
Yeah,
I've
just
never
rip it
seen
open.
someone rip open the top of a shoebox when you can just open it. He just ripped it,
Yeah.
like the top of it.
Oh, yeah.
And that just goes to show how he lives his whole life
Yeah.
just without a care in the world.
Oh, no, I think it's just with so much care to going all out because he went all out at basketball. He was in the gym doing as much work as MJ. He would, but at the same time, he'd go out and party just as hard as
the
he
max
was in the
level,
gym.
yep.
Yeah, like and then he'd go out on the court and hit people to the max level. Just
Rebound and hit people.
Yeah,
all
throw
day.
his body. He did his job to the max. He was just a great player, and he was on the bad boy Pistons. They do have that reputation, but they were still a pretty good team. But Isaiah, I mean, if MJ and Larry Bird and everyone won't let you onto the USA Olympic team, that might be a
You're
little.
not getting on the USA Olympic team.
Yeah, that might be a little bit of a sign about what the attitude towards the bad boy Pistons was during the time because they did not let Isaiah Thomas on. and
Nope.
He was a really good
They didn't like the
basketball player.
league, and the league didn't like them.
No. But also, we just talked about Taco Fall he got offered a contract again, right?
He did. They picked up.
Yes.
So he was on his rookie contract, so
Yeah.
he gets the first year, and then the team has the option to pick up the team option on him for the second year. And they offered him to him and Tremont Waters. So
Oh, beautiful.
it's looking like they'll be in the G League again this year.
That's
so it's
amazing.
exciting to see because Tremont Waters is coming off the G League Rookie of the Year actually this year. He was the best rookie in the whole G League.
Oh my God, I don't pay attention to the G League, and that's amazing. Future's looking bright for the Celtics.
It really
man.
is. With all the picks we've had, and our team only being the average age being 23, and the
Yeah.
two new people we picked up in the draft just on Wednesday, Aaron Naismith, he shot 52% from the three-point line this year, just in his sophomore year of college.
That's outstanding.
And then the other guy, Peyton Pritchard, that we drafted with the 26th pick,
Yeah.
he's a point guard that will help our second unit actually push the ball because that's the one issue with the Celtics is that once our first unit comes out, our second unit walks the ball up, is slow on defense, and with him, he's another Marcus Smart type player.
Yeah.
Runs everywhere, throws himself on the floor. He played 4 years at Oregon, so he's older, he's developed, he's an adult,
Yeah.
and I think he's really going to fit into the Celtics well this year, especially with not knowing how Gordon Hayward's going to be. He's going to be pivotal. And with Brad Wanamaker not coming back, he's going to have to fill in that backup point guard position because if Gordon doesn't come back and we just get a big man, then it's going to be looking like Kemba, Marcus, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum,
Which isn't bad.
Daniel Tice as the 5.
Yeah, which
And then
isn't bad.
with Peyton Pritchard coming in at the 2 as the backup point guard, it will help us just keep pushing the floor. With Kemba out there, he pushes the floor well, passes well, and that's exactly what we can do with him. Aaron Naismith on the other end, he's 6'6", with a 6'10" wingspan, and he shoots the lights out. And that's exactly what the Celtics needed in a small forward, because now he can play the 2, 3, or 4, and we can just have him lurking in the corner. And that's exactly what we'll need.
Yeah.
So Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum can drive to the rim. And even if we don't pick up a center, it works out because now that we got 2 shooters, it will space the floor and the defense out more. So we might not have the best centers, but they'll have more open looks and more one-on-one matchups under the hoop. So I think it's going to look really well. It all just depends on how Gordon Hayward turns out.
Yeah, because, would you rather see him return or go somewhere else?
See, he wants out now from all the reports coming out that he's just done. He feels betrayed by the Celtics for some reason. I mean, I get it a lot of, like 80% of the fans wanted him gone, which doesn't really make sense because we couldn't get anyone else nearly as good as him, just straight up.
Yeah.
The only thing we're looking at now is the sign and trade for Miles Turner and the Pacers. That's looking like the best trade available for us because Gordon really wants to get back to his hometown in Indiana. And Miles Turner is the only person on that team that could really fit into the Celtics system and like our wants and needs. So that's looking like the top trade right now. But I would love to have him back, honestly. I love how he plays.
Yeah. And
He's-
I
he
think, no, you can keep going.
He can play in the first or second unit. We had him playing in the second unit, and he was the leader. He brought the ball up. He ran he brought the offense through him. He was making sure, finding people for cuts. He was driving to the rim and kicking. He's a really good facilitator, and when he's healthy, he's definitely our third option, if not our,
Oh yeah, but I was talking with Sean before I came in here, and I was saying that I feel like it came down to a money dispute because due to the Celtics saying that when you're healthy, you're gross. You're just absolutely insane. Like you are one of the pivotal players on our team, but the issue is that's when you're healthy. Because the thing is, I've absolutely that is an unavoidable injury. There's no how are you going to avoid snapping your ankle in half
in the
he
first
did?
play of opening season. You just can't.
You
predict
can't blame him. But I'm just saying that I think it was a little bit. But if I feel like the Celtics could also give leeway of a $22 million contract. But I feel like the other dispute is the length of it. Because I feel like Gordon Hayward is saying in 1 to 2 years, the injury to things won't really be much of an issue. And I feel like he wants a 4-year contract or something.
That's actually why a lot of people think he opted out of this contract, just the 1 year, $34 million contract, because with all the losses they had with the bubble and COVID last season, they're holding on to 30% of the players' salaries this season because of how much losses. So Gordon Hayward would actually be making way less money than you would, not nearly the $34 million. He'd be making 10% less than he usually does on the $34 million because of how much loss they had last year. So they're thinking Gordon Hayward wants to restructure his contract until, as you were saying, like a 3 or 4 year contract and spread the money out so he makes more in the long run than making this one lump sum of money and then losing 30% of it because there's not going to be fans. And that's how they make most of their money, is the fan revenue. So with just TV revenue, they're not going to make nearly as much back as they would want. So they think he's just going to space it out if he doesn't go to Indiana.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we're going to see what happens because we can only speculate because those are both they're both just situations that kind of just work out for both teams in a way.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see him back in Boston too.
I would too. I would.
Yeah, he's definitely someone who I'd want to see back. But let's see. Well, I think that I need to bring up something that's an elephant in the room of the video game that's been taking up too much of our time recently. Deep Rock Galactic, and just how ridiculously fun that game is.
Oh, it's amazing. It's just like Minecraft and Doom.
Yeah.
Together. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's great too because especially with the popularity of Game of Thrones and just Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, everyone knows dwarves. So the thing is, you're a space dwarf, you get to drink beer. It's the part that really drew me in was everything that you would think of it'd be kind of funny if the game developers put this in. They put it in. You can customize your pickaxe. You can you can put a Ushanka hat on your dwarf. It's just all and it's. I also love it too because it's $30 and there's no microtransactions. You get all of the gear and everything you get through going and doing missions, which are kind of like a raid style mission.
And it's awesome how the missions itself is just an open world cave. And the caves are structured and it guides you through the cave. But you can truly go anywhere you want if you want.
Yeah, actually, did you know that the caves are procedurally generated the same way that the planets are in No Man's Sky, so no cave will actually be the same?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But that's super interesting. That makes it even better because you go mining every single time, but you'll never run into the same cave twice.
Yeah.
And with the spiders, I really like how they made it spiders. It actually makes sense that they're in a cave and they got the flying insects that actually look like they belong in a cave.
Yeah.
Everything makes sense. And the way they have classes, it's very Team Fortress 2-like, and it's really cool. They just blended, it seems like they just took great things from all good games that have come out and just put it into this little indie game that you can literally do whatever you want with your friends.
Yeah, it's also they say for rock and stone when you just do the emotes back and forth.
Being able to just chant and just everyone does it, no matter who you run into. You can just join a random game with random people online. And if you say that, 9 times out of 10, you're getting an answer back.
Yeah, the community that is built around the game is it's a very helpful community too. Like people make fun of other people for not being useful. Like, oh, you only mined like X amount of this, or you killed X amount of bugs. But it's never like a malicious one because it's just kind of like, come on, man. Like it's like we all made it back, but like.
Yeah.
It's like, come on,
man, you did this.
Yeah, it's like, come on, you're playing the gunner role. Kill some more bugs. You have a Gatling gun. Like, so it's just something. It's also just, I play a lot of single player right now just because like I'm trying to build my player up to being so I can go confidently out into multiplayer and be useful. But playing a lot of solo and then going and playing co-op with you, it makes me love the game even more just because it almost feels like two different games.
I totally agree with that. The single player one with like the robot Bosco seems totally different than when you're actually playing with people. Like,
yeah, because you can just send him to go mine something, but if you're playing with people, you actually have to use the engineer platform, toss that up there if you have an engineer, and you can either use the scout to use the grappling hook to go up there, or you can use the gunner zip line to go up there and get those minerals because you don't have Bosco when you're doing the multiplayer missions.
And I really enjoy how the 4 classes complement all the other classes. Like you can run any combination of those characters and it's gonna work.
Yeah, it's just like in every game. Some work better than us, but they all work well. Yeah, because like apparently for a while we were running the worst combo of driller and gunner just because they're both really slow and tanky.
Yeah.
But like we didn't have a problem with it.
Not one issue.
Never.
But then we went to scout and engineer, the best combination in the game, and we flew through things in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just you can play those two different styles if you want. You can play like a more heavier, like because like when we played those two characters, every level we went to, we kind of just set up shop.
Yeah, we just stayed next to each other, followed each other around, and just had each other's backs. But with the scout and engineer, we would just run off in different directions, and we'd be like, "Hey, can you come help me with this now?"
Yeah, and we just be like, "Woo!" Just go right over there. Oh my God, it was just, it's just such a fun game. Like I just can't, because the feeling of it too, very much is the feeling of like the Hobbits going to retake their gold from Smaug in The Hobbit. Like it's very much like you're going on a quest or a mission. Like
when the miner machine's drilling you down into like the cave, you're like,
it's go time.
Go time.
Yeah. Like if back to the Doom thing, like if the metal music that they had when the Doom guy came down, or when the Doomslayer came down the elevator in Doom 2016, and then he just kicks open the door and then just racks the shotgun, and then the metal music kicks in, like that could be played every single time you go down and land. And then, especially with the scout, where you just whip out like the double barrel shotgun, the gunner you whip out a Gatling gun. The driller, you whip out a flamethrower and you feel like Rambo sometimes. It's just like I just can't get over how and also how you progress through the game. Like I truly like, for instance, the first real bosses you meet, the Guildford Praetorians. They're kind of a pain in your ass when you first meet them, and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, these guys I have to prioritize, and I like kind of have to focus fire on them. Like I can't really just not pay attention to them. Now we're playing like we're at character level 8s, character level 7s. We have like we have a gunner level, mine's level 15, 16, and then a scout level 7. I think you have a driller level 10.
Yep. I just got the cryo gun.
Oh yeah, they're not even an issue.
Gun. Yeah,
they're not even an issue anymore.
It's crazy how it's literally like as you play, you just get better. Like it's not like a game where you have to go out of your way to buy. Go through a battle pass to level up to get new things. Like you just play, and if you sit in a mine all day on one mission, you'll get a ton of XP. Or you could just fly through it, do the base objectives, and just get the mission XP. It's literally whatever you want to do. It's awesome.
It's literally just pretty much they went, hey, free. It's just here's an environment. Here's some objectives. Have fun. I can't recommend it enough. It's available on Steam as well as Windows 10. Yeah, actually, that is the correct saying.
It is on Windows 10, yeah?
Yeah, that is the correct saying. I said Steam and Windows 10, which is kind of Xbox as well. But I don't know if it's on PS4. I'm assuming it might be.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but definitely would recommend it to everyone. It's $30, doesn't break the bank.
It's also free if you have the Xbox Game Pass.
That's true. And it's just endless amounts of fun. And it's just beautiful. But the new Chell game coming out as well, NHL 21. It's already out. We both don't own it because money.
College.
College, rent, basic things. But it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's the
And-
first time they're adding an actual career mode into NHL.
Oh, they're finally bringing it back from Chell 14. Like,
Oh, did they have it in Shell 14?
so actually a little background on it. So NHL 14 is really like the last game people consider amazing in the Chell series. But NHL 14, they had like literally interview process. Wasn't a cutscene or anything. It was just you'd get a post game thing of like an interview and you just hit an answer for a question, raise your team chemistry and everything like that.
All right.
So they had it already, but then when they jumped from the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation to the Xbox One and PS4 generation, they ended up having their team. So they let go half their team, and that half the team was on the Be a Pro side. Because NHL 15, you couldn't even sim to your next shift.
Really?
Be a Pro, yeah.
It's crazy how far it's come.
Yeah,
But looking at the
Well, it's crazy how far it regressed in 1 year and how
and-
it's literally taken like 5 years. Like that's why like even like since you jumped in onto Chell like sooner, it's like
2019 was the first one I played.
yeah. So you're like wow, this is awesome and new, and I'm still a little bitter because I'm like
I've already had this, but now I've had to wait another 6 years to get it again.
yeah. Well, it's completely different this time because you can buy property and everything now. Like that wasn't even a thing. I love the career mode they added into it now, but it was just the fact that it was taken away and then and it was so bad for so long while all the other ones this generation seem to focus on Be a Pro. Chell,
2K's main focus is my career.
yeah.
And it's always has been. You've been able to talk since I can remember and answer interview questions. The first one I played was 2K11. And even then, they had a full My Career mode where you had to talk to your teammates and your coaches and scouts and the press. So it's crazy to see that EA has had it and then just got rid of it, even though one of their main focuses in Madden was the Be a Pro mode. So it's like you focus so hard on Be a Pro in this game, but then you haven't touched it since you brought it back to nothing with 2015.
Yeah, like it was just so annoying to see that. Like that's why when I played the NHL 19 Be a Pro and I was like, they have a skill tree. Like I was like, oh my god, they added something new. Like this is fun. This is interesting, and like, it's still a ton of fun. But I'm also so excited for the Michigan or the lacrosse goal, and I want to hit that on someone at some point because I am going to get the game.
Good luck. I think I've seen one person hit that in the world in an actual game.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking do it. Though. I'm gonna
do it.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it because also Pavel Barber did the motion capture for Kucherov. I just love it. I just found that out yesterday, and I love that because Pavel Barber. I've been watching him on YouTube for a couple of years, and he's just insane at stick handling. Like he's a stick handling coach. And like I've shown you his videos, but like he brings the puck up and does a Zorro move where pretty much is where you do a toe drag, bring the puck up onto your stick, and pretty much treat the hockey puck and blade like a lacrosse stick, and just kind of just handle like that and just whip it like into the back of the net. Like he pretty much just treats the amount of puck control that he has is wild. It's impressive. It's impressive. It's just years and just hours put into the craft. It's like ball handles in basketball. It's kind of like, I mean, we had the conversation. It's kind of like the professor.
Yeah.
Someone who's absolutely filthy but never went into the league.
But can do this one thing amazingly. And it's crazy to see the videos he has against actual NHL players where he does the move first and then the NHL players do it and he does it twice as good. Like it's insane that he just crushes it and this NHL player's like
Yeah, I love it. I love to see it. I love to see it because I also I feel like the NHL if they play their cards right could be a league that's in the forefront of sports media within the next 5 years. Just because with the NBA, not throwing any shade towards the NBA, but with the NBA calling the fouls that they call, it has turned me away from watching every day.
It has turned a lot of people away.
Yes, and like NHL, it's still a little safe. like when you fight, you can't take your helmet off anymore, which I think is actually a little more dangerous because they also made the rule of every new player has to wear a face shield, which I understand that as well because I'd wear one anyways because
I feel like taking 100-mile-an-hour slap shot is the least thing you want to do to your eyes.
Yeah, hit your nose and you'll just have a shattered nose. It's just
Have two black eyes for the next like 2 months.
Yeah, but the thing is,
if your skull doesn't fracture.
Oh yeah. So, but at the same time, when you get into a fight now, you can't take your helmet off. You have to have a visor. So if you try to punch someone like here, then you might just hit a visor and end up breaking your knuckle. And the reason why hockey I'm always going to defend fighting in hockey, and I feel like I'm always going to defend it for the reason of it self-polices the game, because you're going to think twice about cheap shotting someone when you have to get punched in the face a couple times afterwards.
Yeah, like, or decked and then.
Yeah, like it's like you go and hit them, and then you have to fight one of the biggest guys on the team.
Or if they don't fight you, you're gonna get rocked on your next shift. Like you're just sitting on the bench, like who's gonna hit me? Like drill me.
Yeah, like you are aware of the target on the back, on your back,
and you're gonna know not to do it again.
Yeah, and it's something that I feel like needs to be highlighted. Like, yes, I understand that it's violent, but the other thing that should be highlighted is that right after the fight, more often than not, they're hugging each other, high-fiving each other, saying good fight, and there's no hard feelings. It's usually to set the tone or something like that.
Yeah, it's just to protect the team you play for.
Yeah.
It's not because you have harsh feelings against the other player. It's because you have to win, and this is your job.
Yeah, it's the saying.
And as the biggest dude on the ice, if someone hits your player, you hit them twice as hard.
Yeah, and the whole saying is leave it on the ice, leave it on the court. I'm pretty sure was said in basketball. But it's just like that. That's just the attitude. It's like, hey, if you're out, and that attitude, I feel it needs to stay. It needs to stay because then I feel like the game could get a little more dangerous.
Oh, 100%. If more people are taking just chip shots and just like, and then doing it again 2 periods later in the same game, like.
If there's no real, like, there's the deterrence of they can get rocked by it, but it's just, there's something about a fight. It's also, it brings in a lot of ratings.
Yeah.
For
Who doesn't
NHL.
like a fight?
Yeah, all the casual hockey fans, they want to see a fight. They want to see a hockey fight. And it's also like, if the NHL puts up some nice insurance into some of these contracts, which I feel like they need to, because there's a lot of stories of junior hockey players who are enforcers and their knuckles are all fucked up because they're fighting and they're punching the tops of helmets and their knuckles are getting broken and beaten and battered. I feel like they should have some kind of compensation just because yeah, their role on the team is to be the most physical person. Like, they're putting their body on the line to protect your star player for your franchise. So I feel like they should be also compensated pretty well for that. Like, I feel like it should be like, if not direct insurance, they should at least get some kind of contract where it's like, hey, this money is added into your contract for medical expenses.
Because you are the enforcer.
Yeah.
And you lay your body out more than anyone else on this team.
Yeah, and it's like, we just want you to know that we appreciate, like, players. Like, I feel like that would go a long way. That could happen. Like, I feel like that definitely happens in some contracts, but not all contracts. And I feel like a wave of that could come with different sport agents. Just because there's just stories like Bobby Orr where he got fucked over by his agent, such as Bobby Orr, he retired as Chicago Blackhawk. And the thing is, those years never should have happened because, well, his agent told him that the Bruins had no interest in re-signing him when the Bruins were ready to offer him a stake in the team.
Really?
Yeah, and
I did not know that.
Yeah, so then he went and played his last season or two with the Chicago Blackhawks instead of the Boston Bruins. And it's just that's just such an example of like that. Thankfully, that doesn't happen as much as we saw with Richard Sherman in the NFL. He negotiated his own contract, so players are getting more financially aware and more fiscally aware of like what their worth is. Like
Jaylen Brown even negotiates his own contract.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he doesn't believe in a manager.
That's awesome.
He's a UC Berkeley man. That's fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a smart man.
Yeah. Yeah.
He spoke at Harvard last year.
Yeah.
He's 24 years old. He's going to have a very bright future after the NBA.
Yeah. I feel like I really see Jaylen Brown kind of having a same trajectory as Kobe. Just because, yeah, like
I think he's going to be more on like the political and like social like
but I
justice
feel like
side. But
that
yes,
same drive.
absolutely, he's definitely going to be a huge name after the NBA. Even
Mhm.
probably Kobe was probably bigger outside the NBA than he was in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, he's one of the biggest names in history. But with everything he's done since he retired,
And then
before he passed, like
yeah.
it's just insane that athletes have like such a platform now that like how big of a difference he made in the world. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like Jaylen Brown's another one of those people.
Mhm.
He's already the NBA players rep. Like he's like gonna be the president after Chris Paul steps down.
Yeah, and he drove to Atlanta for a
He drove
protest.
15 hours to his hometown just to
Yeah.
protest about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, and it's like that's a commitment that's just all you can do is respect that.
Yeah, that's
All-
just him going out there and doing what he believes is right.
Yeah.
And it's great to see, and I'm so glad he's on the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I love that he's on the Celtics. I love that he's doing all of that, and it's just. I love Jaylen Brown just so much. I've like Jaylen Brown. I see that I've been seeing on his Instagram that I think he wants to make the Bill Russell statue taller. I'm all for that.
All for it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's Bill Russell. I don't know if Bill Russell wants it bigger or not.
He probably does.
Yeah, but like, it's just
Seeing from him at award shows nowadays, probably.
yeah, yeah, and it's and I mean I don't blame him. Like Bill Russell, he has 11 championships.
The most championships in the NBA.
Yeah, yeah.
Even won 2 as a coach.
Yeah, all 4 I'm getting. Like I feel like that the Bill Russell I feel like, man, imagine if going into TD Garden, they put the Bobby Orr diving statue and the Bill Russell statue and that was like the entranceway going into TD Garden.
Name 2 better sports.
The 2 sport icons of those.
Boston.
Yeah, like that would be just absolutely
2 people that started the tradition of sports in Boston.
Yeah.
You could say like,
yeah.
who do you think of when you think of the Celtics? Larry Bird and Bill Russell. Who do you think of when you think of the Bruins?
Bobby Orr and Jerry Cheevers. Like Bobby Orr, the Mask, Jerry Cheevers, like, oh my God, like we could go on for hours just about all the history and just everything we love about Boston sports and the rivalries that they've had with the Lakers and pretty much just how the Bruins have pretty much had a rivalry with every Canadian hockey team in existence. But the last thing I do want to talk about with the new consoles coming out, what are your thoughts on a console versus PC? Because I'm very much leaning towards investing in a PC just because I feel like it's more future-proof than a console at this point, just due to the utility and where we are in our lives of being 20, 21-year-olds and nearing the end of our college careers. A PC would probably do more than a console, but but in terms of I don't know why I added that in, but because I was talking from a pure gaming perspective. But from a pure video games perspective, would you rather want to go PC or go and get a new console?
Well, with like you said, the versatility of it, the consoles are basically small PCs now that can only play games. They have all the same tools and things. They just can't do what a computer does. So at this point, it's all the same technology. So why not maybe invest a couple more $100 instead of getting a $500 Xbox, than to just get a PC that you could play the same games on, but you can surf the web, like in your situation, edit videos, use Photoshop. And like my situation, I can use Revit, I can use AutoCAD, I can use all the architectural softwares and 3D design tools that I need that I couldn't be able to do on an Xbox or a PlayStation. So just as you said, the versatility alone, and the graphics are way better on PC.
And the mods.
The mods.
The mods.
The
I
would
Left 4 Dead
definitely-
2 mods.
Oh my goodness. Where you put Johnny Bravo as the tank.
And I don't know if you could hear, but every time he shows up, it's instead of tank noises, it's just Johnny Bravo quotes.
Is it really?
Shows me like, come here, sugar.
But yes, at this point, with the new generations coming out, I definitely would have said if you wanted to play video games to get a console in the last generation because of the gap and the price gap. But now they're so close and the technology is changing so quickly and prices are dropping in older technologies with PCs so rapidly and new things are just... The last generation graphics card from NVIDIA was $1,700. And the lowest version of the next gen costs $550. It outperforms it.
It's just ridiculous.
So like technology is advancing so fast in PCs that it's almost not worth like the Xbox, because in 2-3 years, the stuff in the Xbox could be obsolete.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck with an Xbox that you can't change out parts in. You can't flip-flop whatever you want. If you want more storage, you have to go out and buy a $100 Xbox like little Game Boy like memory card to stick in the back. But with a PC, you can just go out and add more storage onto it. You can just install an extra storage driver.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah, I'm very much on the side of PC. I have been, I think you could tell I have been for a while. I've been just kind of on the edge because I love Steam games with Civilization Revolution. Oh my God, I could play that game. I have played that game for hours.
For days.
An unnecessary amount of time. But yeah, but I think that wraps it up for today, at least for me, if you want to add anything else.
I think it's good. I think we're good to go.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us for the first edition of The Plate, and I look forward to see if you join us again in the future. Thank you, and have a great night.